Hey everybody, it's Lyn from Lyn's Crafts. First of all, I want to welcome all my new subscribers. Second of all, I want to share with you, I've been asked to share with you how I create some of my bezels. If I can get my camera to focus well enough. What I'll usually do is I'll start with the stones that I've created, whether they're just cabochons or whatever I've created. And then I'm going to start with this rectangular one this time. Alright. So what I would do is sketch around the stone. Alright. And then decide what my style is going to be. And in this instance, I went for kind of an Art Deco kind of style. And this was just a piece of scrap cardstock. So as you can see, it's just an oval with some protruding semicircles where I could put some rhinestones. Alright. So that could be used this way or this way. And then I wanted a top. Where I could put another stone. I could do a painting, or I could just do some sort of detail. Again, with the semicircles on the sides to put gemstones, rhinestones. The top up here was to give it a little bit of balance. And I could also put some gemstones up here or some sort of detail and put my bezel. Not bail, sorry. Alright, so I'm going to work with that. I've rolled out a sheet of silver on my thickest setting on my pasta machine. Put some texture on the back side because this is going to be the back. Alright. Sorry about that. I paused to let the dog in, let her in, she wanted right back out. So, I'm all over the place this morning. So what I would do is just lay my pattern down. And normally, if it wasn't 15 degrees here in Texas this morning, the pattern will stick to your clay. So I'm just going to straight up and down with your X-Acto knife, with your craft knife. And I'm going to just cut this out. I have to excuse my sleeves. I never have sleeves. We don't even have central heat. We just have a wood burning stove because it just doesn't get that cold here. Alright. So there's the back for the first piece. And I don't think I can get new. Alright. Okay, I've cut out 2 of each of the patterns, and I've decided on a stone. I've got 4 jump rings that are going to connect the top and the bottom. Now I've got a head pin that I'm going to create a bail out of. I've got bezel on the brain this morning. Alright. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is attach the pieces together. Alright, this is the back of our top piece. So I'm going to decide on where the center is, and just an eyeball will do. Doesn't have to be perfect. And I apologize if you can hear my computer. Making noise. I'm not sure why all of a sudden it decided to do that. But shh, I have ordered a new one. Don't let it hear me. Because it's been giving me nothing but grief lately. And I kept saying as soon as I could, I was gonna order a new one. Okay, a new to me one. Alright. This clay is so cold, and I'm just hoping it'll stick together. I just wasn't liking how high up into the clay that one was. And I meant to say this earlier. When you're drawing out your pattern, it's perfectly okay to fold the piece in half and to make sure you've got it a little more symmetrical. Even if you have to put this on another piece of paper and retrace it to avoid your fold showing. But I don't normally worry about stuff like that. Alright, I'm just going to give it a squeeze where the bail is and where the jump rings are to make sure that those are embedded in the clay. Alright, and this second piece. Alright, and it's a good idea before we embed this to make sure they're going to line up. And of course they do. You can put a little bit of bacon bond in there if you're concerned about them pulling back out. Alrighty then. We've got that done. Now I'm going to decide where I want this just trying to get it centered somewhat. Alright. Now this particular stone has a flaw in it. It was just the last of the scrap of this color of Skinner blend that I had, and it got a little fold in there. But I'm going to attempt to hide that. Alright, and the next thing I did, besides trying to hide my seam a little bit, which can be easier said than done, is I'm going to, it's going to be so hard to do on camera, just with my rounded ball tool, the small end, I hope y'all can see that. It's just give it a little bit of detail. It doesn't really matter the detail of the detail. It's just something to break up the your vision a little bit, to give your eye something else to rest on. And there's lots of options here. You could do a much more detailed detail, a much finer detail than just scribbles like this. But as you can see, I kind of marked off the corners, the semicircle corners there, where I'll put a rhinestone. Or in this case, some half-back pearls would be pretty. Alright. There we go. Now what I'll probably do is make a couple of roses to put down here at the bottom. And on this part, what I've been doing is doing a painting in the middle here. So what I would do is I'm going to decide on where that shape would be. And going ahead with the detail. Sorry if I was off camera there for a second. Alright, before I finish this top off, I'm going to decide where I want the painting to be. Alright, that will work. Alright, and then what I'll usually do here is create a couple of frames for my stones to sit. Something like that. Alright, and then I'll continue on with the little spirally pattern. particular instance, I'm going to have to go back and fix my edge detail. Alright, well, there we go. And that is just about it. I would bake these and then go from there with whatever detail I wanted to add. I could go ahead and add the roses right now while it's still raw. I could even add the rhinestones while it's still raw. And then I would bake it. And if you wanted to, even while it's still raw, if I could reach it, I could even add a little Pearl-Ex powder with just a bit of a scrubby brush. And normally I would use a silver, but in this instance I'm wanting it a little lighter. Just to give it a little bit of sparkle. Okay. I actually went back and I rounded the edges on the ones that I've already done, which I'll show in an upcoming video. Alright, just to smooth the edges down just a bit. So you don't have that cut, harsh edge. Alright, let's put a little Pearl-Ex on this too. Now what I'm wanting to do here is to avoid the center part where I want the painting to go, although it really wouldn't matter, because the acrylic paint will definitely stick to the areas with the Pearl-Ex. Alright. Okay, so what you'll wind up with is a piece that is finished front and back. Well, nearly so. And if I didn't have that boo-boo right there, it really would be ready to go. So I'm going to bake these, and then I'll come back.